Thank you for joining us. You're listening to the St. John's Farmers Market Radio Almanac. This is a show about business and market culture in and around St. John's, Newfoundland. This program is produced and recorded at CHMR FM 93.5 FM in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, and is aired on other great stations in the province and elsewhere in the country. It can also be heard online at www.chmr.ca. I'm your host, Matthew LeDrew, owner and operator at Engine Books, the province's fastest growing independent publisher of books.
Thank you for joining me for another wonderful episode of the St. John's Farmers Market Radio Almanac. I am here with Bill of Haricot Farms, which is a pasture, grass-fed, hormone and antibiotic-free beef, lamb, and mutton farm. All meat production done on site on their provincial fully licensed facility. They've been at St. John's Farmers Market for quite some time, and they're a staple of it. Thank you for joining us, Bill.
Thank you, Matthew, for the opportunity to hijack your interview.
Yeah.
This is kind of special. It's been 30 years since I've been on Mun Radio.
Wow, that's insane.
I started at Mun Radio when I was in high school back in 1990, and I used to drive out from here, and I do the board I guess courses, and I went on air. Oh my gosh, I think it was 1990, wow. And yeah. So I signed off Mun Radio, I think it was 92, 93.
Wow, that's crazy. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a little different now.
Yeah, a little different now. Now I can do it from home, thankfully, during COVID and all that other stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. Well, now, what'd you do on Mun Radio? What did you have a show or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I was there 4 years, maybe 3 or 4 years, and did everything. My first show was, of course, I did overnights, and I only fell asleep once, waking up to the record going click, 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 click. But yeah, I had a heavy metal show. There was a guy who left, Bob Metalhead Mercer, and they needed someone to fill the slot, and I filled in. But I did all kinds of fun stuff there. There was a little comedy troupe. Audio tune theater, and we had a lot of fun and worked with a lot of great people. It's such people always ask me, if they're interested in getting in radio. I always tell them to go to Mun Radio and just test drive it, because it's such a great collection of people, ideas, and just, you can just have fun, right? And it's funny now looking back. That whole Seattle sound kind of came out when I was there. Who's Pearl Jam? Who's Nirvana? They didn't last.
No, my lord. Funny.
Yeah.
Funny stuff. All right. Tell me about Haricot Farms. Tell me about how this came to be, about how it started, what you guys do, everything. Pretend I am a complete moron, because let's face it, I am.
Oh, don't be too hard on yourself. My family has been here, my ancestors, 100+ years, and we've always kind of farmed and fished this land. And back in the 80s, my father and brother started a dairy farm, and they ran that for about 30 years. And as anybody knows, dairy farms, there's a lot of work to them, obviously, but it's, twice a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So, everybody, they punched like I said, almost 30 years at that. And I'll use air quotes here, retired from that, but Dad and my brother, don't want to be sitting around very long. So they decided to open an abattoir and start raising beef and lamb. And that's kind of the genesis for all. I kind of just walked into this entity that was already created. I left my career in the media after 25 years, just, been there, done that, gave away the shirts kind of thing. And it was a number of things played into it, but it was the right time, and it seemed it is, I should say, it's fun, it's rewarding, a lot of work, but here we are.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's so. What kind of again? Pretend I'm very dumb, because I am when it comes to this stuff. How like how many livestock do you have at any given amount of time? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think in terms of the beef side of it, we have about 150. And in terms of the sheep and lambs, I think we're around the 50 mark now. The 2022 models are arriving daily. So, the numbers are growing.
That's amazing. Okay. I see you guys out at the market all the time, even in, like, again, this is the type of farming product that you can have year round, where it's animal based, of course. So you're out there even in this time of year giving out, like, or not giving out, offering fresh meat and fresh all that kind of stuff. It's wonderful work you guys are doing. What's the best part of it to you?
Whew. The best part of it, I get my commute is much shorter.
Yeah.
I'm working with family, and that's always, that's great. There's, I don't know, it's just rewarding at the end of the day. You don't have any trouble trying to fall asleep, by no means. And it's I get to live in a beautiful spot and work with some beautiful people.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. That sounds very rewarding, and I'm envious of that type of, like, business that gets handed down kind of thing, and that seems like it's just
Hmm.
part of your line at this point. You know what I mean? Like, it's, yeah.
Yeah, well, when I was a teenager and, young and stupid and ignorant to it all, I didn't want anything to do with farming, especially with the dairy farm, because I saw how much work, it was. I took the easy route and did radio. But, as age played into it, it was just the opportunity was there. And, my wife and I sold our house in St. John's. I was still working in St. John's when we moved out here. So I used to commute back and forth for about 3 years. And then one day, well, not one day, but over a course of time, it was like, let's give it a try. What do we got to lose? I'm rather fortunate, I guess, in that sense, because not many people can, pack in a career, one as rewarding as I had and fulfilling, and try something new.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's always a scary moment, even when you've got, like, a business that's kind of more tried and true, like yours is, over the course of your family and stuff like that. It's hard cashing in that kind of steady weekly paycheck
Yeah.
for something that's, yeah, like you know what it's like if I don't sell books this week, I don't get paid. It's a problem. Like,
It's a slug. Yeah.
yeah,
It's a slug, and that motivates you, that,
yeah.
I worked with salespeople over the years, and, I didn't envy them then. I don't envy them now, we're up against, so much in terms of outside players, the bigger venue or the bigger retailers. And, we got to try to strike a balance of make money and be somewhat competitive at the same time. So it's a juggling act.
It's like a huge juggling act, especially when the big players seem like they're, I mean, you know this, we all know this. It happens in the book industry, it happens in the food industry, where they kind of cut down their prices to
Yeah.
edge out everyone smaller. And then, as soon as
Yeah.
all the smaller ones are gone, they'll just jack up their prices and everyone's
Yeah.
screwed. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a volatile market, to be in. I mean, you got world factors. It's no different than the oil and gas industry, where, something happens over in, another country will have ripple effects here, or something happens out west. As we saw with the mad cow disease a while back, they're still licking their wounds over that one.
Yep. And that was quite a while back. That was back when I was in the
Yeah.
restaurant industry. We're talking 20 years.
Yeah. So,
And
that just caused more paperwork for the rest of us and more rules.
yep. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. You're the first food vendor, farmer vendor I've had on this show. Talk me through some of the stuff that you think I might not know as a vendor already. Because like I look at the vendors sometimes and I'm envious, but at the same time, because it's like if someone buys a book, then they're like, I can't wait to read this. They might not read that book for a year. And every time they come back, they'll be like, you'll have made that sale, and you'll be like, oh, but like I feel like if someone buys food and they like it, they're gonna come back next week and get more. And I envy that kind of like return customer-ness of it if you could get one. But at the same time, there's downfalls. Tell me about the benefits and downfalls of your business.
I mean, we're selling a product that we put a lot into, from start to finish. From caring to the animals, to by the time it reaches people's plates, there's a lot of work that goes into that. And when we always have some people who, I had one person say to me, our brisket was too fatty. So I told them, well, I'll put the animals on Lipitor and have a chat with them. But the negative comments are few and far between. But I kind of harken back to when I was in radio and it was ratings season, and when the book came out, it's like there was just this knot in your stomach. And that's kind of always there now because your product is out there all the time. It's rare, it's rewarding to feed people. It's rewarding when people like your products, and we do our best to put out premium quality local products that that make people happy, that feed people, that just I don't know. It's kind of high in the sky there, that sentiment, but it is about feeding people, and it is about putting good quality, safe food out there. I mean, I know you can't see this on radio, but my hands are red from cleaning. I mean, we're spotless. Yeah, I have dishpan hands. I've been soaking in it, Madge. But it's I don't know. It's kind of hard to encapsulate it all because every day is different. Some days you win, some days you lose. In terms of in terms of how your day goes. When you're dealing with live animals, there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, no, I imagine so. I don't envy it. I have a hard enough time wrangling myself to do my business. I can't imagine. Here, you have to go deal with this half-ton or ton beast, like kind of thing. I can't imagine it. It's a level that I can't get my head around.
And you're faced with life and death, really. From we are having a calf that's having that doesn't want to nurse, so that involves bottle feeding, and keeping an eye to them, and dealing with a very agitated mother. So it's that side of it, and most times you win that battle, and sometimes you don't, unfortunately, which is part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did any of that make sense?
All made sense, of course.
Okay.
Of course it did.
Right.
That made perfect sense. Yes. It's so weird to answer these questions about your business. If it's okay with you, I'm gonna transition over to some of those icebreakers, and talk to you about some of those. So these are just random weird questions. Bill over at Haricot Farms. What are three, if you were trapped on a desert island, what three books or movies would you want with you?
I'm glad you said books and not movies, because I have not seen a movie in years. They're called talkies now. Yeah, no, I don't watch movies. The last movie my wife and I saw together as when we first started dating was Jackass 3D. I had some passes for it at the station, and no, we went to go see another movie. Yeah, we went to go see another movie. It was sold out, and Jackass 3D was there. So she went to that with me, and she said, "Wow, he's a keeper."
Jackass 4 just came out. You can have a reunion.
Wow. No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can fully encapsulate the quality of Jackass 3D.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
One of my favorite books was The Lobster Chronicles by Linda Greenwald.
Okay.
And I read this probably about 15 years ago. And just kind of to sum it all up, she packed up her career, moved back home to Maine, and started lobster fishing. Now, I don't know if that planted some sort of seed in the recesses of my brain, but yeah, that's an interesting read. I also saw a documentary on PBS called Alone in the Wilderness. And it's basically about this guy, Dick Prenicky, who packed it all in back in the 60s and went to live in the remote part of Alaska for 30 years. And it's some of his diaries, but it's also a PBS documentary too. So for those of you who, said, oh, I wish I could pack it all in and go live in a cabin in the woods. Well, you watch this movie and read the book too. And I got a bunch of Irish short stories, a book I bought in Ireland many years back that I never really finished. So I'm kind of, picking that up periodically.
Yep. Sounds good. Sounds lovely. Bill at Haricot Farms, who inspired you to start your business, if anyone did?
I'm just a helper monkey. I just walked into this machine. My parents and my brother Paul were the instruments behind this company, and it's kind of like I said, my grandfather farmed this land, my great grandfather, and the people before him. It's they're all inspiring to me. Not to be cheesy, hokey, whatever, but I admire these people.
For sure. That's I hear stuff like that all the time, and it's so interesting and cool to be. It's a level of like that kind of like passing something down like that, like a business to from one generation to the next. That it sounds so nice, but I have no frame of reference for. Like my dad was a teacher, my grandfather was like an engineer during the war and a repairman, but like nothing that gets passed down like that. Yeah, cool stuff, but like it's you miss that part of the identity. You know what I mean?
The family farm, the traditional family farm, are going away of my square spaces or whatever the kids call it these days. It's just it's falling way to bigger farms, corporates.
I mean, the generational job is kind of falling away. Like now you can't even count on having a career for the duration of your lifetime, let alone multiple generations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think I struck gold twice there, so I'm extremely lucky.
Definitely. Bill over at Haricot Farms, if you were a jam, what kind of jam would you be?
Oh. I've never thought about myself as a bit of jam. Maybe bake apple. I like bake apple.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's fair.
I just it's unassuming. It looks tasty, but it's kind of bitter if it's out of season.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I like it. Bill at Haricot Farms, how did you select the name for your business? Or I guess with you, it was probably an inherited name. Do you know where the name comes from?
Well, it used to be called Harry Cove, back shortly after the earth cooled. And then it went to Haricot, 1 R, 1 T, and that's the way we spell our business name. But somewhere back in the 80s, I don't know, it was like someone went down Wheel of Fortune and threw an extra R and T in there. But yeah, that we're named after the community. Okay. Thriving metropolis where there's more animals than people.
I think there's always
40,
more.
40, I think there's 40 people here.
Really? 40?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe I'm being generous too. If we had time, I could count them.
I thought I was from the smallest community. I'm from Francois originally, France, down on the south coast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Always wanted to go there.
you should before it's too
Always
late.
wanted to go there.
Something cropped off across my news feed. It got turned down by the government, but there was a bid to resettle it like 2 months ago, and I was like, "What the holy
Really?
heck is this?" And I only found out about it when it was struck down,
Really?
and I'm like, "Yeah, I would have. I wish I'd done with I would have said something."
So do you still have people there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So where do you catch the ferry? Or is there, you can catch it from two places?
We go down to Burgio when I go to whenever
Okay.
I go back. Yeah.
Now, can you catch it from not
Hermitage.
Roncontra? Hermitage. Okay. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
Hermitage
That's
is
on my bucket list.
Hermitage is weekly, so you're there for a week if you go to Hermitage. If you go all the way to Burgio, you can get back anytime you want. So
Yeah.
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 Longer drive.
How many people are there?
Oh my God, last count, probably 100 total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a city.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Lovely spot. I want to go.
Oh yeah. Bill at Haricot Farms, do you read reviews of your business? And if so, how do you deal with good ones, bad ones?
Well, I mean, it comes with the, you sometimes people tell you to your face, and and knock wood, we've had very, very positive reviews. Like I said, there was one guy that said our briskets were too fat, which okay, we can. It's really hard to make a product that everybody likes. It's not like it's ice cream. It's hard to make a sausage that everybody likes. It's hard to cut a piece of meat to everybody's specifications. Some people like extra fat. I know Jonathan Richler, the Jewish deli. He's all about it. So, and we were selling to another restaurant that unfortunately closed that had no problem with it. So, you deal with it the best you can, and you thank people for their input. And if it is legitimate, you correct it.
I mean, no one's asking for my opinion, but my opinion on the too much fat thing is that's what a knife is for. Like you're like, if you know what I mean? Like if you didn't give me enough fat, there's nothing I can do. But if you give me too much, I can cut it off. Like you're giving me the option.
Yeah. So try to find that perfect balance is, it's delicate sometimes.
Yeah. Bill at Haricot Farms, when you're at the St. John's Farmers Market, does that experience energize you or does it exhaust you? Like at the end of a market day, are you typically bouncy and good and like ready to start the day, or has it just drained you?
Yes and yes. There's the prep that goes into it. We're the week leading into it, because we're only there every second week. We started once we're going every 2 weeks once COVID hit. So the week leading up is like Santa's workshop. We're just getting stuff ready, and then we take turns. Myself and my sister-in-law Maxine, who's the real piece of machinery we have down there. So yeah, it's you're geared up. I usually get up around 5:36 Saturday morning, drive out, set up, and you're pumped. And then what seems like once 2:00 hits, traffic kind of drops off, and the longest hours seem to be from 2 to 4. But it's that's the sitting still is the worst thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This past week at the market was there's a couple busy spurts, but for the most part, I was just dancing in the aisles, going, "What do I do?"
Yeah, I have to keep moving. We're outside again since the pandemic hit, so we're outside. So I'm just constantly walking around. I've always been, I can't sit still. So you're when you get home. When I get home and everything unloaded, 5:30, 6:00, then I crash.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Bill at Haricot Farms. What does success look like for you? Like, I know with my business, there's like, long-term goals I'm reaching for, and there's also like daily success, like things that I want to hit. What does success look like for you? What's the goal?
Coming home with an empty truck.
Yeah.
It's it's the end game, obviously, but happy, content customers, happy, content animals, and it's success is something that's hard to measure because it's so personal, and everybody's version or interpretation of success is different. But
Yep.
for me personally, the greater the sales, the greater I am. And again, return customers, happy customers, even, if people have a problem, with our products, that it's good to interact, because if there is a legitimate problem, then it needs to be fixed, and it can only make it better,
Yeah. But I mean, return customers especially are just a wonderful thing. Like, that's the truest. Like, you can say I could say I like your meat all I want, but if I never come back, that's a real sign of how I really feel.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Bill over at Haricot Farms. If you could tell your younger business person self one thing, if you could like send a message back in time and whisper something to yourself to make your present life easier, what would it be?
Run. I don't stress about it.
That's
but
fair.
I wish, I don't stress about it. I'm a ball of stress all the time. Good, bad, whatever. I just, my brain doesn't shut off. I wake up at whatever time in the morning, and that's it. Once I'm up, because the mind starts reeling. What do you have to do today? What's coming up? Is there, issues or what? That's how I'm wired, unfortunately.
And I see that a lot with people in media. I'm gonna bake the same way, but like people who like at some point worked in the media, that like, because there's no point in media where you can just be like, all right, well, I've done enough work. I'm just gonna sit back here and rest on my laurels for the rest of my career and let the paycheck roll in. No, man, there's something new every 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it's changed a lot since, it's definitely changed a lot since my Mun Radio days. But since, I first started editing on tape, to reel tapes. And I remember when automation came in, computer automation and automation editing. And that was just a complete game changer. It's a different beast altogether now. To its core, it's the same, but it's just different now. People's listening habits have changed. But I got to say, I had fun.
Absolutely. Bill, is there a product that Haricot Farms has stopped featuring? And if so, why?
No, there's nothing really we've stopped featuring. I mean, some things move better than others, and some things are seasonal. This time of year, you're into your comfort foods. Barbecues are still out, obviously, but come, May to, weather permitting, into early October, it's barbecue season. And people's, like, you're into stews and stuff now, and steaks kind of drop off. Your roasts kind of pick up a little bit, and then the summer, your roasts kind of drop off. And and too, it's kind of, it's retail, it's event based too. Mother's Day, Father's Day, all those Super Bowls, that kind of sporting events. It kind of, it is well, it's retail.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Bill, it's been wonderful to have you on the show. And will everyone please go down to Haricot Farms, check out some of their wonderful products there, their wonderful meat products. Have yourself an amazing weekend. If you're having a get together, drop down the farmers market, pick up the stuff from Haricot Farms. Everyone will be very, very happy at your meal party now that we can start having those again, or just in general. But thanks for coming on, Bill.
Thank you, Matthew. It was a pleasure. Great to be back on Mun Radio after all these years.
CHMR is lucky to have you back.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on again. For all of you listening, we'll be here the same time next week to talk more about business culture in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Be sure to drop by and visit our guests and all the other vendors at the St. John's Farmers Market this week.